Mr. Lucky was the best among his equals. His wife and children were extremely brave and smart that the entire village was so envious of them, so they planned to kill him and his family. Once upon a time, it was an amazing evening. Mr. Lucky was having a good time with his family. His 3 daughters, Nancy, Diva, and Pretty, were dancing for him. The children were good dancers. Lucky's and his family lived in a town called Goli. Goli was made up of a community called Ham. Newell was a clan where Lucky family was. There was a dancing competition organized by Newell Cultural Troupe. They wanted to select some beautiful girls who could dance very well to become members of their cultural dance group. Nancy, the daughter of Mr. Lucky, prepared to attend the competition. Other girls from the neighboring village were prepared also. On the competition day, many girls displayed their dancing steps. Nancy was cheered up by her sisters and parents. Many are called, but few were chosen. Despite the skillful dance displayed by Nancy, she stirred the heart of everyone, but unfortunately she was not selected because many were jealous of her family. Nancy was clearly the winner, but the judges refused to declare her the winner because they were tired of Mr. Lucky's family whining everything in the village. Mr. Lucky has the most beautiful, intelligent, and smart daughters in the entire village. His family has always been the best in every competition. They can't win this one of the judges said, and Nancy was disqualified. Nancy went home and cried in her house. She refused eating for days. Her parent and sisters were trying to cheer her up, but she mourned over being disqualified for weeks. Lucky went to meet the head of the dancing group to plead with them to accommodate his daughter Nancy, but they refused. He was disappointed and insulted. He moved to a neighboring community dancing group. He met with their leaders. He pleaded with them to accept one of his daughters, Nancy, but the group leaders insulted him once again. Nancy was hoping that his father will get him a place in any cultural troupe because he was a good man and man of quality in the whole village. When Lucky came back, narrating to his wife and children how he was insulted by the troupe heads Nancy, Diva, and Pretty, felt so bad. That night, as everyone were asleep, Nancy left the house to the forest where she hung herself on a tree. Lucky was called by the village farmers the next morning that her first daughter Nancy's body was found hanging on a tree. The deceased was brought down buried. The family mourned her for months. Sympathizers kept coming. Mr. Lucky knew that his daughter killed herself because she thought all hope is gone in achieving her dancing career. It was time for New Moon Festival. The people always regarded it as a big festival. This New Moon Festival holds 3 times a year. On that day, the second New Moon Festival of the year, the whole community gathered at the square. Men, women, and children came to witness the dancing groups. The whole land was full of celebration. Many cultural troupes came out displaying their dancing steps, showcasing their new cultural attires and new songs. Mr. Lucky and his family refused to attend the gathering. They were not happy because those girls were chosen instead of his daughter who won the competition. He only cooked and celebrated the new moon with his family indoor. The ham dancing group from the neighboring community performed better than that of Newell clan, though everyone got accolades and recognition at the end by village heads. Mr. Lucky and his family decides to disassociate themselves from the activities of Newell clan and ham community. Mr. Lucky's wife was good in making women's hair with thread. She can give any style at a low cost. She makes her girls' hair and some other women's hair. When that incident happened to her daughter, Mr. Lucky stopped his wife from making women and children's hair from Newell clan and ham community. His wife, being a good wife who understands her husband's annoyance, adhered to her husband's instructions. Mr. Lucky was a palm wine tapper. He was very strong and bold. Other palm wine tapper will have about 10 or less palm trees they were tapping, but Mr. Lucky will be able to control about 20 palm trees in a day. Each of these trees needs twice-a-day attention. Mr. Lucky will go to a far community to collect the job of a palm tree from widows who has palm tress. He shared the palm wine with the widow into two. Many widows trusted their palm trees into the hand of Mr. Lucky because he was an honest man. His business of palm wine tapping was transparent to anyone that deals with him. He withdrew his palm wine tapping services from Newell clan and Ham community and decided to deal with just people within the village and far communities and far villages. Because of Mr. Lucky's energy and braveness in tapping palm wine, the Newell clan and Ham community are best known for the fresh palm wine on daily basis. When people come from the city to buy palm wine, they're referred to Ham Community Square for fresh palm wine with low cost because they have enough. When Mr. Lucky became angry, the gods became angry. He was not treated fine. The community began to lack palm wine. The little they got became expensive, and not even fresh as usual. People from the city stopped coming to patronize them. Mr. Lucky started taking his own palm wine to Alcoy Market. This market was not popular. It was just a market for cassava and other cash crops. But when he started taking his palm wine there, the market grew. People from the city learned that Mr. Lucky was selling there. They started rushing. Mr. Lucky became the god and savior of men of Alcoy community. He taught some of them, and they joined him in palm wine tapping. The economy of that community grew also. Mr. Lucky and his wife were enjoying their lives regardless of threat coming from members of Newell clan and Ham community for months. It was the Moon Festival that was the last celebration in Land of Goli that year. It was in this last one that farmers are allowed to showcase their produce. Mr. Lucky did not participate with his family. The women of Ham community came to Mr. Lucky's wife for hair making, and she refused. One day, the elders of the Ham community sat down to discuss Mr. Lucky's attitude. They deliberated on how to handle him because he is causing them to lose virtues, and their economy was collapsing. Some men said that they should apologize to Mr. Lucky, but the wicked ones among them insisted that nothing was done to him. His daughter killed herself, and all that. The elders planned to expel Mr. Lucky into exile and also bring down his hut. After their meeting, they accepted to burn down his hut at night. That night, Agu, a good friend to Mr. Lucky, told him the plan of the villagers to set him and his children ablaze. Mr. Lucky took his wife, his two daughters, and some their clothes and left to his elder sister's house, who was married to Icom village. When the men of community came and set the hut on fire, everything was burnt. Everyone was happy in the Ham community because Mr. Lucky and family has died. The people of Ham community and Newell clan continued suffering. The gods afflicted their men with many diseases. Their trees and animals began to die. Their wives also died during labor, and their young boys and girls became a concern and thorn to the flesh of their parents. As time goes on, Mr. Lucky was seen selling his fresh palm wine at Alcoy Market. The report got to Ham community that Mr. Lucky and family was alive and lives at Icom community. The Icom people loved Mr. Lucky and his family. His children had joined the Icom people dancing group. Their dancing team were the best of all villages. Their dancers were exceptional. Icom dancing group made the children of Mr. Lucky their front dancers. One day, the New Yam Festival came, and it was the biggest festival of the year. This occasion was not restricted to the Land of Goli, but all the villages surrounding. Every village came into ceremony with their troops. Ham community and Newell clan troops joined force at the New Yam Festival to be the winner of that year. Despite their joint force, they were humiliated by Icom Dancing Group. At the end of the New Yam Festival, the trophy of that year was given to Icom Dancing Group. Pretty and Diva was given Best Dancer of the Year also, and they dedicated it to their late sister Nancy. Not just that, Mr. Lucky was given the Best Palm Wine Tapper Awarder, as everyone testified his dedication and honesty in business. One day, Ham community and Newell clan threw away their shame and pride. They went to Icom village and apologized to Mr. Lucky and his family. They rebuilt his hut and gods forgave them. They brought Mr. Lucky and his family back and made Pretty his daughter the Queen Cultural Troupe. Their land was restored. The end.